Hello and welcome to Sports Fan Entertainment Continuing. The Sports Fan Entertainment NFL Team Profiles, and today we are talking about the New York Giants. And the Giants were an interesting team to me last season. Now, they weren't very good, but specifically, quarterback Daniel Jones and what happened with Daniel Jones last year was very interesting to me because I was the one, and it's still very early, okay, it's still very early, but I was the one saying, wait a minute, y'all, Daniel Jones is not that bad. And in fact, I had him as the second best quarterback coming out of last year's draft class, well behind Kyler Murray, but still as the second best quarterback in the draft class. And I'm still not saying, and I didn't say when he was drafted, that old Daniel Jones is a bona fide franchise quarterback without a doubt. I still think he has a lot of stuff to work on. I'm going to discuss that momentarily. But it was just interesting to see a lot of people have their expectations be absolutely surprised by Daniel Jones. So what will he do for the New York Giants this coming season? What will the Giants do in general? We're going to discuss that today. Real quick, though, let's look back at that 2019 season just a little bit and recap before we look ahead to 2019. So last year for the Giants in 2019, we saw Eli Manning get benched early into the season and Daniel Jones take his place, and he did a damn decent job. 24 touchdowns to 12 interceptions for Daniel Jones. And look, the completion percentage wasn't great, but the weapons weren't either. 87.7 passer rating, and I think you'll take that if you're a Giants fan. I mean, this was a pretty decent rookie season for sure. Running back Saquon Barkley, he got injured week 3 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Still ended up, though, with 217 carries, 1,003 yards, and 6 touchdowns. And then look at the pair of wide receivers, and Darius Slayton, the rookie last year as well, adding to that nice rookie draft class for the Giants. He came down with 740 receiving yards and 8 touchdowns, and then wide receiver Golden Tate coming down with 676 receiving yards himself, and he missed some games. In fact, he was traded midseason. I want to say, was that midseason he was traded? Either way, but I thought he did a very good job for the Giants last season. He still has a lot left in him, in terms of his legs, in terms of his ability on the football field. So I'm very excited to see what he's going to do this upcoming season as well. So with that said, let's go ahead and move forward now from 2019 and look ahead to 2020. What happened in this offseason? We had some arrivals. We had some departures. The biggest departure being Eli Manning. In terms of name, certainly not in terms of play. As the play of Eli Manning has, it's never been great to begin with, but it was certainly at its lowest last season, and it was time for him to be replaced. And we had a nice little Monday Night Football game where, hey, he had a nice little run for you there, but it was a good farewell to Eli Manning, and a farewell that was needed. Again, Daniel Jones replaced him and did a decent job there, and that's really the only departure that I give a damn about. I don't give a damn about any other departure. Antoine Bethea, Alec Ogletree, I don't care. Okay, but look at the arrivals. Okay, James Bradbury, the cornerback formerly now of the Carolina Panthers. Now, this guy's been a good corner, okay? And like all corners in the NFL, it can be a little inconsistent. It's hard to find a consistently good corner. But he's been one of the top 15 corners in this league over the last 4 years, so I like that addition. Linebacker Blake Martinez, a little overrated to me, but he's going to come down with a number of tackles for you. Kyler Fackrell, another former linebacker of the Green Bay Packers, so a pair of former Packers here in Martinez and Fackrell. And I think Fackrell's actually underrated. Last year the Packers signed Preston Smith and Zadarius Smith, so Fackrell went down the depth chart, but he's still a decent rotational pass rusher, and he's going to have a good support for you guys in terms of the pass rush this upcoming year. I guarantee you of that. Dion Lewis, he's a receiving back, and you don't really even need a receiving back with Saquon Barkley, who can do everything, but it's a decent addition, I guess. And then Cam Fleming, Levine, Toilolo. Look out for Toilolo. This guy might do something as a backup tight end for you. Now, we look at the draft class as well. We Thomas Xavier McKinney and Matt Pert being the first 3 picks in the first 3 rounds for the New York Giants, adding to that offensive line. And this is such a critical thing because when I evaluate Daniel Jones, and let's go ahead and evaluate him now and what I saw from him in his rookie season, he is only going to go as far as your protection takes him. If you do not have good protection for Daniel Jones, he is in trouble. If you have good protection for Daniel Jones, he's going to give you top 10 quarterback production. Top 10. That's why he had 5 touchdowns against the Washington Redskins, 4 touchdowns. I want to say it was against, I can't remember. I want to say it was like his second game starting. I can't remember which team right now, but the 4 touchdown guy. I want to say he had 2 4-touchdown games and 1 5-touchdown game. We see the upside with Daniel Jones when he's able to be in rhythm, be in stride, trust his offensive line. He's able to dissect some faults, and that's the New York Jets I'm thinking about, who he also had 4 touchdowns against. A loss, surprisingly, but he had a very good game in that one. Maybe it was 3 passing touchdowns, but still it was a very fine performance by Daniel Jones. If Daniel Jones has protection, this guy's able to dissect the field. When the protection goes, he gets in trouble. He also needs to learn to respect NFL corners and the speed in which they possess and the technique that they have. That's why he struggled immensely against the New England Patriots. He got rattled early. Okay, the protection was actually fine. It wasn't that horrible. It was horrible against the New York Jets, and he still found a way to move the football down the field. It was awful against the New York Jets. Against the Patriots, he did not respect the abilities of Stephon Gilmore, who you absolutely have to respect, and some of the other players in that secondary like Deron Harmon, like Devin McCourty. So he needs to get used to that because this guy was playing for, Duke? Okay, he was playing for Duke, and I'm sure he's not used to the level of talent that the NFL has to offer the cornerback position. Now he knows. Okay, so I think he's going to learn. He's a smart guy. He's going to continue to learn and improve there. And now that they're adding to the offensive line, you should see continued improvement from Daniel Jones. So with that said, let's go ahead and move on to my team analysis of the New York Giants. So we look at the team analysis for the New York Giants, and they're stacked. And I still can't believe you guys got away. And to me, it is getting away with getting Leonard Williams. I mean, I still can't believe the New York Jets, who stink, okay, and, a little bit better than you, granted, but stink. I can't believe they gave him one of their young, promising players and Leonard Williams, but you guys took that, and ran with that. Now you guys also have Davlin Tomlinson in the mix there, in the defensive line. Dexter Lawrence, who you guys drafted last year. The defensive line right now is stacked with young talent. These guys are only going to continue to improve as years go on. And don't forget about B.J. Hill. B.J. Hill's also on this defensive line, so it's an absolutely stacked defensive line in New York. I also would personally say that running back is a strength for this team. Now, it's only Saquon. Okay, don't talk to me about Dion Lewis. I know some of you guys are still fans of Wayne Gallman. I'm not. I've never been impressed with Wayne Gallman. But when Saquon Barkley is as good as he is, I mean, come on, he's a strength. You guys know I'm a Tennessee Titan fan. You guys know I'm a huge fan of Derrick Henry. He's better than Derrick Henry. We just haven't seen him be out on the football field with a good offensive line and be healthy long enough. He's better than Derrick Henry, and, considerably. So if this guy can just get the protection, we're talking 15, 16, 17, 2,000-yard potential from Saquon Barkley, and yards from scrimmage easily over 2,500. I mean, he could break the record. That is what we're talking about when we're talking about Saquon Barkley. This guy's an absolute stud, an absolute beast, head on his shoulders, everything you look for from a running back. If you build a running back out of stone, he would look like Saquon Barkley. Love me some Saquon Barkley. Who doesn't? Weaknesses, defensive ends. Okay, defensive end is an absolute weakness. Defensive end, pass rusher, edge rusher right now, definitely a weakness when you look at this New York Giants football team right now. You don't have much of anything. When you guys let go of Olivier Vernon, that was the one really nice piece that you had. Now you're hoping, okay, and it's going to be a hope that Kyler Fackrell can step up for you. And I think you guys just re-signed Marcus Golden. I think you guys just did that. I didn't check it before this video, but they did it just a couple days ago. And yeah, so Marcus Golden, his rights, I'm looking at right now, his rights have rescinded back to the New York Giants. So you guys didn't sign him technically, but his rights are back for the Giants. So he's going to offer you a nice, in terms of the pass rush. He had 10 sacks last season. Even he's had his inconsistencies, though. So defensive end is definitely a weakness for the New York Giants. And then linebacker as well. And this has been a consistent problem for the Giants, for a decade. I mean, for a decade, the Giants have not had strong linebackers. And this is the case now. David Mayo, he's okay. I don't really expect much from him. Blake Martinez, again, he's able to fill up the stat sheet, and that's why people love him. He's able to rush the passer. He's able to do that a decent amount. But in terms of just being able to be consistent against the run and in terms of being able to cover guys, in terms of being able to diagnose things at the line of scrimmage, never been a fan of Blake Martinez when it comes to that. So I think it's definitely a weakness for the New York Giants. X factors, quarterback and safeties. You have a young quarterback. That's always going to be an X factor for me. How will he perform? Will he keep the head on his shoulders? And I think that he will. This is the guy that I like, because although he's not as talented as like a Baker Mayfield, right? Daniel Jones is not as talented as Baker Mayfield. He's not as talented as Sam Darnold. He's not. but he has a more level head. He doesn't let things get to his head. He's not falling in love with the media, getting in fights with Colin Cowherd, listening to what people are saying about him. And that's the type of quarterback that you want. That's the quarterback that's more likely to ascend, because I'm telling you, more often than not, these quarterbacks, we know Baker Mayfield was an absolute beast coming out of college. We know Sam Darnold was an absolute beast coming out of college. This the expectations. They get in their own wet heads. They struggle. Daniel Jones has a great head on his shoulders, and that's what I love about him. I think he's going to have a fine season this upcoming season. And with that said, let's project it. So, what are my 2020 stat projections for the New York Giants? And let's start with Daniel Jones. So, I have a 64% completion percentage, 4,000 passing yards. I even went up to 29 passing touchdowns, 13 interceptions, and a 93.0 passer rating. Now, this may not be the huge jump that people were anticipating, but the weapons didn't improve that much. The offensive line did, okay? The offensive line did. When you're adding in Andrew Thomas, when you're adding in Matt Pert, those two rookie offensive linemen, that's an improvement. Wide receiver-wise, no. Okay, now it'll be lucky, it'd be nice to have Golden Tate for the whole season, Darius Slayton for the whole season, Sterling Shepard for the whole season. That's a number 2 wide receiver, and Golden Tate is like a 1.5, okay? There's not anyone that in terms of the wide receiver core that defenses are planning for. Golden Tate is going to sneak up on you. He's going to get a 60, 70-yard touchdown. Don't get me wrong. I love me some Golden Tate. No one's really game planning for Golden Tate. Evan Ingram, we know that this guy, his focus can ebb and flow, can come and go. Evan Ingram, I have my problems with Evan Ingram right now. He's good, but he's not living up to his potential. Rookie season, you thought this guy's going to be a 1,000-yard tight end. Nothing even close last season. So what's going on with Evan Ingram? Certainly not a good blocker at all either. So the weapons didn't improve enough for me yet. So hopefully next year is the year. And, they're trying to build in the trenches first before they go outside, which I understand. That's, how they do things here in New York now. But that's just the one thing. You're going to have to wait to see Daniel Jones break the 30 touchdowns to me, really break the 100 pass rating when you actually get him some real weapons that teams are going to fear. And Saquon Barkley, they definitely fear him. But in terms of the wide receiver and tight end core. Running back Saquon Barkley, 300 carries, 1,500 yards, 12 touchdowns. I have him down for 5 yards a carry. He had 4.6 last season despite being a little bit hobbled. I know that this is asking a lot, but dude, I'm telling you, this guy, he's built from stone, man. He's built from granite. This is what I expect from Saquon Barkley, maybe even more. And then wide receiver Golden Tate, I think he will still lead the pack, and I have him leading the pack with 65 catches, 900 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So with that said, let's look at the schedule for the New York Giants this upcoming season. What is the schedule looking like? Oh, and I forgot to change this schedule graphic, but I have the schedule coming down below. Let me go and update this. All right, and let's fit that to the screen, please. I forgot to update this. All right, so we look at this New York Giants schedule this upcoming season. They are once again finding themselves in the NFC East, where last year they went, I want to say 2-4, sweeping the Washington Redskins. I don't think that's going to happen again. The Redskins are improved. They do have Ron Rivera now, so they're not going to be an easy out like they were last season. I would anticipate a split there. With the Cowboys and the Eagles, you'll beat one. I don't think you'll be able to split both. I think you'll be able to beat one, so that's how I feel about the NFC East. We look at the AFC North. Okay, so the AFC North presents more interesting matchups. AFC North is difficult. So week 1, you guys host the Steelers, and, this is a game I would normally say if it was in the middle of the season, you guys could sneak up on them, but I think the Steelers are going to be ready to go week 1, so I can't have you guys winning there. You guys travel to Cincinnati week 12. I absolutely can see you guys winning there. The Bengals are not very good to me, but, at this point, the Bengals might be a little bit in stride, depending how, their offensive head coach is able to get things rolling by this point in the season. And you guys host the Browns in week 15, travel to the Ravens in week 16. This feels 1-3 to me, because the one I would feel most comfortable in is the Bengals, and it's even in Cincinnati. And like I said, at that point, the Bengals may be in stride at week 12, for their standards. They're not going to win more than 6 games this year. But, this could be one of the 6. So I only feel like 1-3-ish there, so not very strong there. NFC West, another division you don't really want to face. You guys host the 49ers in week 3. You don't want to host the 49ers. This is not an easy home game for you where I can just say, okay, that's going to be a win. You guys travel to LA. If you guys were hosting the LA Rams, I'd feel better about that, but you're not. You're traveling to LA, and I don't love that. I know they don't have a great home field advantage, but it is still a New York to LA flight, and that is still asking a lot no matter how you slice it. You guys also find yourselves traveling to Seattle, where yes, some teams have had some success recently, but it's still a difficult ask to go travel to Seattle and have confidence there. But then you guys host the Cardinals, and I feel like, okay, this is a game you guys should win. Although the Cardinals will be improved this season, this is a game I feel comfortable with. And you guys also host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming to town. That is not going to bode well for you guys. You guys also face the Chicago Bears, traveling to Chicago in week 2. This is a difficult schedule, people. And then this is the problem when it comes to this team. Because, everyone's anticipating a huge jump for the New York Giants. But, how many teams on this schedule are they better than now? Even the worst of teams on this schedule, right? The Bengals is probably the worst of teams on this schedule. They're traveling to Cincinnati. I think they're on the same level as the Rams. I think they're on the same level as the Cardinals. Am I 100% sure that they're beating the Cardinals even in New York? No. I feel good about it. I'm not sure that they're going to beat LA and LA. So there's still so many problems when I look at the schedule. Now, best case scenario, Daniel Jones makes a huge jump in terms of his play, even bigger jump than I'm anticipating, and he really becomes, a top 15 quarterback in this league, becomes a new, Matt Ryan light, and all of a sudden the Giants are here, and Saquon Barkley rushing for 16, 17, 1,800 yards, really making things easy for Daniel Jones. And this Giants team, I think, could compete for the wild card, but I still don't think that they're NFC East ready. I think the Eagles and the Cowboys are still significantly better on paper and in their coaching staffs than the New York Giants right now. So that's just the absolute best case scenario. Worst case scenario, the schedule just eats them alive. And they'll be improved, but the improvement will only be 5-11. It won't be a 1-win improvement. Now, my prediction, and Giants fans won't love this, and I understand it, it's 6-10. I just think the schedule's too difficult. Now, here's the thing. What's going to happen? If you guys can stay healthy, boom, you'll see the Redskins get more injured than I thought, or the Eagles get more injured than I thought. You'll get 1 or 2 more wins. I can see it being 8-8. 9-7, I'm kind of shutting that down. I know I said best case scenario, and it is best case scenario. If they go 9-7, you can say I'm wrong. If they go 8-8, okay, a couple more teams got injured than I thought. But just on paper, I think the Giants are still catching up, and they still have a ways to go, and I just don't like them against this 2020 schedule. So there you go. Those are my thoughts on the 2020 New York Giants. What are your thoughts? Comment down below. I want to know. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to like, comment, and most importantly, to subscribe. And until next time, this has been MJ of Sports Fan Entertainment, and I'm out. See you all later.